I was freaking out before we started rolling because old Iconodong back there.
Iconodong.
Actually, Ruben was saying we should call it Throbbing Hood. Throbbing Hood's pretty good, but...
Iconodong, a.k.a.
Throbbing Hood.
Throbbing Hood.
Yeah.
He has a long name.
Well, I think Iconodong works because, branding.
Yeah.
Trying to brand ourselves. I think I am going to have a fucking heart attack during this show today.
Really? Are you getting juiced?
Yeah, that new dosage, way too high.
Well, you took a whole one before you did your research.
Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking about it. I was trusting my doctor, which new doctor obviously shouldn't trust them.
Any doctor.
Yeah, some of them are all right. I mean, I think that Dr. Kevorkian guy was a pretty straight shooter.
I don't go to the doctor, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably why you're constantly in pain.
I don't feel pain.
And it's probably why you get sick when you drink water also, because that's definitely not natural.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm trying to drink water, though. See, I got my water.
Let me smell that bottle. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's straight tequila.
You're lying. This one is.
Iconoblast. We put the past on blast. Hit 'em with the truth, with things you never knew. Nobody is safe, no thing to place. Got Joel and Coop with history in your face. Iconoblast.
Presented by Ghostbed.com. Welcome back to the Iconoblast podcast. This is the show that takes a look behind the public facades of famous icons to show you why you can never take anything at face value. My name is Cooper, and across from me, as always, wearing those sweet-ass shades. You're gargling tequila?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, baby.
You might have a drinking problem, or you don't have any problem with
I
drinking.
got no problem with it.
That's Joel R. Benner.
Thank you. That's my name?
Yes, pretty sure.
All right, so what's the topic today? Let me guess. Same one it always is.
Yeah, but this is the...
Superman, video games, cloacas, shark dicks.
I hope it's not cloacas and shark dicks today, because we might be running that topic into the ground.
Oh, really?
I'm probably mostly going to be talking about...
How many episodes have we talked about cloacas? 4? 5? Maybe 6? Maybe 7? Maybe 8?
Probably about every other episode, from what I can tell.
Right.
But I mean, there's
still less than
nothing
Caesar.
wrong with that. That's part of our branding, also. Aquatic Cloaca. That's our band that we're starting.
Aquatic cloaca, dude.
Aquatic
It's a good
Cloaca. Yeah, I really should have talked to my doctor a little bit more before taking that new medication, because
Yeah, so what's the deal with the medication? You were on another type, and now you switched. But
yeah, I don't want to
4 times the dose on accident.
Well, that's what I looked up online and found
Let's
out
see if
that it's 4 times stronger than what I was taking before.
Let's see if the audience can guess what drugs you're taking.
I'm sure that they can guess.
When you start sweating in about 10 more minutes.
No, it's nice and cool in here, so I think I should be fine with that.
I think it'll happen anyway. I can already see a little bit of a glaze.
Really? I mean, that's probably just because I'm a naturally oily
Damp.
person. Yeah, I'm naturally damp.
Naturally damp.
But yeah, I've still been... I mean, we've been out here for 5 months now, but I'm still...
Been 5 months?
Yeah, 5 months now.
Shit.
But I'm still going
still
through
alive.
still going through the process of putting my life together after leaving California.
I was trying to get my life together in California. Trying to get my life together here.
I'm not saying
I don't
that-
think I've ever had my life together.
I'm not saying my life was together in any way, shape, or form out in California, but it was a little bit more together than it is here. I had my...
In your mind, I think.
In my mind. I felt a lot more put together out there because I was just comfortable. I had all the things that I needed to...
You knew they were
to
coming.
barely scrape by. So out here, I'm still working on doing that.
It'll happen, bud. You'll be okay. I'm here. I'll always be here to take care of you.
Jesus Christ, don't say things like that. We still got a sponsor, as far as I know.
Yeah,
So we might as well do another ad read.
It's probably just because they haven't seen the last episode yet.
The Iconoblast podcast is brought to you by ghostbed.com/Drinkin' Bros.
Yeah.
Ghostbed has been a loyal sponsor of the Drinkin' Bros for 5 years now, and everyone here in the studio loves them. And that's true. Everybody here either has one at home or they've taken a nap on the ghost bed that we've got sitting right across from us.
Yep.
Friday night Jack Sesh every night takes place on a ghost bed, and there's a reason for that. And that's because they're damn good mattresses. Ghostbed makes high-quality mattresses right here in the good old USA, and each mattress comes with a 20-year warranty. You can try a Ghostbed mattress for 101 nights, and if you're not completely satisfied, you can return it. No questions asked. No flash photography, please.
I just want to prove that there really is a ghost bed next door to us.
Oh,
So
yeah,
and
it's
then
right over there.
There it is.
For the people listening at home, Joel is filming a video on his phone right now, right in the middle of the ad read. This is so unprofessional.
Wait, I also realized that they're seeing our professional tripod back there. That's our wide shot.
That's a very expensive tripod that we use for the wide shot.
Back there. Okay, continue, please.
You can try Ghostbed mattresses for 101 nights, and if you're not completely satisfied, you can return it, no questions asked. Each mattress has cooling technology to keep comfortable on those hot, sweaty nights. Their pillows also have cooling technology, so you don't have to keep flipping the pillows at night anymore. Ghostbed also offers an adjustable base that's best in class and costs less than the competition. The adjustable base has 15 massage modes, 0 gravity, and tons of other great features. I still haven't tried the massage modes yet. I gotta remember to do that after the show today. Maybe Jack will let me climb in bed with him this evening during the Jack sesh. We're recording this episode a lot later than usual, and I completely blame the difficulty that I had getting my prescription filled because I am worthless without my drugs.
That's okay. We'll pump this out. Get it out in time.
Yeah, it's a fairly short episode. We're just wrapping up Caesar's second trip to Britain. You can buy a mattress for about $35 a month, and they have no money down, 0% APR financing. Right now, Ghostbed is offering a flash sale where you can get 40% off when you buy a mattress and adjustable base, or 30% off everything when you use the promo code Drinkin' Bros. So I was able to get a hold of a few testimonials, and I know that these are coming from Drinkin' Bros listeners, and I had to read these because these two in particular are fucking great.
Okay.
So this is a real testimonial from a Ghostbed owner.
Okay.
Greatest bed ever. When I have the amount of women I have, 4, at the same time in my bed, I need support. Very hard to, but I managed to please all of them, and that's a direct correlation to my new Ghostbed. Furthermore, when I drop my loads all over them, never in them because I don't want kids, I need not worry about staining the mattress because of the Ghostbed mattress cover. Great mattress and great company. 5 stars all the way.
Brilliant.
Here's another one, just right for me. I love the legs because you can change the height. The bed is sturdy, and that means a lot for big girls and guys. This bed is true to its word, worth every penny. Those are some
big
good
girls and
fucking
guys.
testimonials.
Yeah.
So head over to ghostbed.com/Drinkin' Bros to take advantage of all their awesome deals. That is ghostbed.com/Drinkin' Bros. Ghostbed. Sleep so good it's scary. I think that was a little bit more organized than the last ad read we did.
Yeah. Getting better at it.
I probably should have wrote it out that way before. Would have been better the first time around. But
You ever been with a big girl?
No, it's all set.
Like a big one.
You have to add. Every girl's big compared to me. Look at me.
Okay.
But to answer your question, yes.
How big? TMI?
Uh,
TMI, dude.
well, on my 21st birthday, after I was getting hammered all night at a bar for the first time.
What do you mean by getting hammered? You mean like getting railed?
No, I took home a large lady that night.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was.
Do you have a good time?
I don't remember. Honestly,
That good, huh?
I guess.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. I was so fucking hammered that night that I don't even remember leaving the bar.
But you know
Well, yeah, because I woke up the next morning.
and you saw the pancakes. You were like, oh, shit.
The pancakes that...
They were everywhere.
Because big girls travel everywhere with pancakes?
Well, what'd you do when you woke up?
Kind of questioned my decisions a little bit. I was like...
Did you remember, like, when you woke up, you were like, where the fuck am I? And then you saw a beautiful beast next to you, and you were like, oh, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Beautiful beast.
Yeah.
No, it was at my house, so I knew exactly where I was. And I had a close friend of mine sleeping on the ground next to me, and the first thing that I thought is, you son of a bitch, why didn't you do
Why
something
didn't
to
you
stop me?
stop me? Yeah. She was probably real sweet. Shout out to the big girls.
Yeah,
I
for the most
I
part.
like a big girl once in a while.
I don't know how
You'll
they-
get killed, so I understand why you.
I'm
handle it.
a frail young boy.
Your back will break.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't
Or
break
my
it on that
ribs.
adventure.
I'm
Did you break a
assuming-
couple ribs?
Yeah, obviously. That was back when I was still in the music scene, so my ribs were pretty much perpetually bruised or broken from all the mosh
fucking-
pits.
Oh, the mosh pits.
No, I did not. For a musician, I did not do very well for myself back then. I think it's because I was so timid. I also didn't have a
Back then?
mustache back then.
Oh, that's a big one. The mustache helps.
Everybody likes mustache rides. So in the last episode, we went over the first half of Caesar's trip back to Britain, and we talked about how he came with a lot more people this time around. I think it was, 27,000 soldiers and then about 4,000 cavalry or something like that.
And what was it the first time?
The first time he had like 6,000 soldiers and no cavalry.
Okay.
So this is a pretty big difference between the two. It might have been 8,000 soldiers the first time. So yeah, he came back the second time with much, much more troops.
Yeah.
Which helped out a lot because this time around they're holding their own much better. But they're also facing a larger alliance than they did last time. Not everybody, but a lot of the tribes in Britain created a coalition under a guy named Cassivelaunus.
Cassivelaunus. I was trying to remember his name.
Yeah, Cassivelaunus.
I was trying to sound smart and know the name, but I'm not smart.
Cassivelaunus seems like kind of a cocksucker. Because
what did we decide he looked like?
Did we decide he looked?
We had a conversation quickly. I assumed he was like chubby and hairy and rude, but you were saying he might be more like short and kind of like a Napoleon type.
Let's just say he looks like Paul Giamatti.
Oh, okay.
Because Paul Giamatti can play any fucking role. He can either play a nerd or he can play a tough guy, which is weird because it's Paul Giamatti.
Wait, he's the one that was
tough.
He was the bad guy in Shoot 'Em Up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome in that.
Yeah, so you've got characters like the bad guy from Shoot 'Em Up, and then you've also got the neurotic fuck that he played in, what was that wine movie?
I don't think I've seen that then.
It was him and the guy who played Lowell from
He was also in Saving Private Ryan, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was. His tough characters are cool because he looks like a normal fucking dude, but then he does cool shit and you believe it for some reason. Because he's a good actor.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
I love Paul Giamatti. What was the last thing that he was in?
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm in love with Paul Giamatti.
Okay. Paul, hit us up.
I have pictures all over my walls at home.
You want a mustache ride, Paul?
What was the last movie that he was in?
Shoot 'Em Up.
Was it? I mean, I can't think.
don't know.
I can't think of anything that he's been in since then.
I haven't seen him in acting in a while. I don't really look for him.
Speaking of Shoot 'Em Up, whatever fucking happened to Clive Owen?
He's still doing weird movies. I haven't watched any of them.
I thought like Clive Owen and Sam Worthington. Well, we know what's going on with Sam Worthington. He's cursed to
do Avatar for the rest of his life.
Do Avatar for the rest of his fucking life. Which they're making 3 more Avatar movies, or is it 4 more?
They're doing, I think, a total of I can't remember. It's 4 or 5.
4 or 5? I thought it was 3 or 4.
No, total, including the first one. Sorry.
So
it's not a trilogy. I think it's 4. They're shooting 3 at once. I think that's what they're doing.
Quadrilogy.
Yeah.
So James Cameron is just going to keep pumping out
time.
Avatar movies until he dies.
Yeah, well, he hasn't pumped one out in quite some time.
Yeah, when are those supposed to fucking come out?
Already.
And
yeah,
he started working on those immediately after the first Avatar, right?
Yeah, I talked to my truck broke down on set there in the parking lot, and a stunt woman that has been there from the beginning actually helped me jump my truck, and she kind of gave me the rundown because they've all been on payroll for over 10 years.
That's fucking insane.
And they already shot them all once. That was the craziest thing that blew my mind. We don't have to get into a whole Avatar thing. I could talk about it for an entire show.
Well,
when we do a topic on movies, we'll get into that. But the short version is they literally shot the entire film on their stage with just the stuntmen, and then there's a digital version of it just to get the angles and test out the scenes and see how they work visually. And then now they're reshooting with Sam Worthington and Sigourney Weaver and everybody that's in it.
Didn't you say Sam Worthington got fat?
Yeah, he's fat.
But I guess it doesn't matter because he's just playing a digital character now, so he
it's
can look
all,
however the fuck he wants.
Yeah, he's fat, but he doesn't care. I mean, actors are crazy. They'll get fat and then they'll cut weight when they need to.
Oh, God, especially Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day that was something along the lines of, tell a girl that you look like Christian Bale, but don't tell her what movie. Because either you can be super skinny or super fat or really ripped. Yeah. It's like, are you talking about Patrick Bateman or are you talking about the guy from The Machinist? Or are you talking about him playing Dick Cheney?
Right.
I think that he deserves a little bit more respect as an actor than he gets. I mean, he does get some decent respect.
He's got like a Nicolas Cage reputation. But
was that because of
Nicolas Cage has gotten worse. But
yeah.
But like he does a bunch of weird shit. Like some people don't take him serious as an actor at all, and some people are like, dude, he's like one of the best. That's how I feel about Nicolas Cage, at least.
I think he used to be, and he's kind of become a joke at this point.
Christian Bale?
No, Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yeah, but he'll come back. That's the thing. He was a joke already once before for like 10 years, and then he did Kick-Ass, and he was awesome in that.
Yeah, he was good in Kick-Ass. He always seems to have at least one moment in every movie where he just goes completely over the top.
What about that indie film that was super popular that he was in?
That one was
called?
Oh, shit. What was it called?
Fuck. I could only watch it once, but he is great in that. It's a really weird fucking... It's like watching...
oh, goddamn it.
You gotta be on drugs to watch it. It's like a drug movie.
I need to look that up because
it's worth saying the name.
Yeah, I want to be able to say what the name is.
Yeah, look it up. But that's the thing about Nicolas Cage is he's kind of like Adam Sandler. He'll do a string of horrible B movies, and then he'll nail a good one once in a while.
Mandy,
that's what
it's called, Mandy. Such a weird fucking movie because
it's
starts
long
off...
and slow and weird and fucking... It's like watching a fucking 1 hour music video.
Yeah, well, also the way the story shifts gears, where it starts off like it's some artsy indie movie that is semi-based in reality but still weird, and then all of a sudden he's building a giant battle axe and going after demon bikers. It's worth it.
I like
worth watching it just for that.
In the bathroom, in his tidy whities, and has a freak out. That's my favorite scene.
It's
a classic Nick Cage freak out.
I haven't seen it since it came out in 2018, and I haven't actually seen it since then, so I don't remember that part.
I only saw it once.
I also might have been under the influence of drugs when I watched it because you need to be.
Yeah. But I just saw for the first time Leaving Las Vegas, which is what he got an Academy Award for.
Yeah, that's like one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Are you guys recording?
Yeah. Dan Hollaway just walked in.
What's up?
What's going on, man?
Nothing.
Come on in, dude.
Mind if I watch?
Feel free.
I like to watch.
But now I'm going to get nervous.
Nah, you'll be fine.
This,
you got
picture him
tequila in
naked.
your system.
Oh, okay. I'll be fine then.
That's how he does it all the time.
Yeah, but anyway, I saw Fear... what's it called?
Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas, yeah. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Kind of the same thing. But anyway, he's awesome in that. I saw it for the first time.
Both movies with a lot of drinking in them. Fear and Loathing has a bit more drugs. I don't think Nicolas Cage does any drugs in Leaving Las Vegas, right? He just drinks himself to death.
He just drinks himself to death, yeah. But yeah, it's a good... If you've seen it already or you haven't seen it, I think the best thing to do is to watch the film with a friend or your girlfriend, and you play a drinking game where anytime he drinks...
Drink to death.
You drink.
So
by the end of the movie, you're
have
drunk.
alcohol
It's perfect,
poisoning.
yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
All right, so on this episode we're going to be wrapping up Caesar's second trip to Britain and his climactic battle, kind of anticlimactic battle with Cassivellaunus.
Okay, let's do it.
Nearly being overrun by the British army caused Caesar to rethink his strategy. Continuing as he had, the hit-and-run attacks by the Britons would eventually wear the Romans down, causing death by 1,000 cuts. Have you ever heard of, I think it's called Ling Chi?
No.
Death by 1,000 cuts? It was like a Chinese torture execution method. There's some pictures of it online that are pretty fucked up, but yeah, they just slowly cut off pieces of your body until you bleed to death.
And keep you alive?
Yeah, for as long as possible. That's the goal. That's
sweet.
I think that's one of the only execution methods that I can think of that's up there with, I think, the brazen bull and impalement.
I think my mom did that to her ex-husband.
Well, emotionally, not physically.
Yeah, well, who knows?
Caesar knew he needed to force Cassivellaunus into a decisive large-scale battle where he could crush the British once and for all. So at this point, if you remember from the last episode, Cassivellaunus still hasn't faced off in a single large-scale battle, because anytime they square off, the Romans end up just fucking them up, even when they're outnumbered, because the British cavalry was solid, but their infantry just sucked balls at that point. They weren't cohesive. They didn't have the same tactics that the Romans did.
Of course not.
Caesar knew of only one surefire way to draw Cassivellaunus into a set-piece battle, by attacking his home. The Romans assembled into their marching columns and began to move north towards the river Thames. And just across the river, Cassivellaunus was waiting. Thames? Thames? Oh, okay.
Thames.
It should be Themes then. Fucking
Thames, and it's Britain. They're fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like bastards. That's why they kept losing against the Romans.
We should have a mic on Dan, because I think he's going to have a lot to say.
I'm like Tony Reale in Around the Horn when I was correct, or in PTI back in the day, just correcting you off camera.
The Romans met some minor resistance as they forged across the river, but it quickly melted away once the entire force had crossed. Seeing that Cassivellaunus wasn't taking the bait, Caesar began playing his greatest hits. marching through the countryside and burning all the fucking villages to the ground.
Yep.
I mean, it worked back then, though. I mean, well, it doesn't really seem to work that well anymore.
Works at pissing off everybody.
Yeah, it's a good way to build an insurgency.
But it feeds your soldiers.
If you're not planning on... Well, Caesar was doing it for multiple different reasons, because they're also capturing slaves at the same time. There wasn't a whole lot... When they first went over to Britain, there were rumors that Britain was such a rich country that there was just fucking valuables laying all over the ground. There was like gold and silver nuggets all over the place.
But when he got there, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that wasn't the case. But
they were getting slaves the whole time?
Yeah.
And what would they do while they're on the move with the slaves? What was their purpose?
I mean, they just keep... their purpose was to be taken back to Rome and sold so they could make money that way. The people were pretty much just as valuable as finding gold.
Okay, that makes sense. So they'd have to feed them and shit too, though.
Yeah, but not that much.
A little bit less.
They're definitely not getting the finest cuts of meat that they have.
True.
Cassivellaunus shadowed the legions and sent skirmishers to intercept their foraging parties, but he refused to engage in the large-scale battle that Caesar wanted. Caesar continued to raise villages, hoping to chip away at the morale of the Brits. One morning, the Roman camp was approached by a delegation sent by a local tribe. They wanted to form an alliance with the Romans and in return get protection from reprisal from Cassivellaunus. Caesar agreed, and the floodgates opened. It seems like Cassivellaunus...
Wait, so what happened?
It seems like So Cassivellaunus had formed a coalition. He had gotten an alliance of a bunch of different tribes together to fight back against the Romans. Yeah. And they had a year to prepare for this. I'm sure that when the Romans left last time, they figured that they were going to be coming back at some point.
Yeah. So he tried to make a little team to try to stop
them. Everybody created an alliance. Well, not everybody, but most of the tribes in the area created an alliance under Cassivellaunus. And so at that point, anybody who decided to turn against him was going to be facing an alliance of the rest of the tribes. So they would get fucked up either by the British or they're going to get fucked up by the Romans.
Okay.
So this first tribal delegation that came along, they agreed to an alliance to Rome as long as Rome promised to protect them from Cassivellaunus, because they for sure were going to get fucked up for turning against the rest of the Britons.
Oh, I see what's going on.
So after the first delegation came forward and was able to build an alliance with Rome, other tribal
so now
leaders
he's just getting tribes to join him to help take down the only threat that he has out there.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he's not only getting tribes to agree to not fight him anymore, that's taking men away from Cassivellaunus, and overall it's shrinking his entire army.
Yeah.
So after the first tribal delegation was able to build an alliance with Rome, other tribes in the area saw that and they're like, okay, well, fuck it. If they're willing to just make an alliance with us and protect us from Cassivellaunus, that means that we're safe from the Romans and we're safe from this other asshole.
So if they had to make a deal with Caesar, what was the deals like? It was probably a bullshit deal, right? Because they knew they were going to get killed if they didn't join him. Yeah,
I mean, there would definitely be...
They all have to fight. They all have to, or at least work in some way for them, right?
Well, they would have to contribute troops, and most likely this time around they were just giving tributes of food, because anytime Caesar was sending out foraging parties, Cassivellaunus had chariots chasing him down and fucking with him. So Cassivellaunus was trying to beat Caesar by attrition because he knew that he couldn't beat him in a stand-up fight.
His army, like what we talked about.
Yeah, his army wasn't as good. Which
so it was like, I won't burn down your fucking village if you give me all your food.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that Cassivellaunus doesn't burn down your village either.
Okay, so would he leave part of his troops at the little villages and shit, or what?
How did he like that's what they would do with the Gauls every now and then, is they would garrison their troops. They would garrison like a couple cohorts or an entire legion.
Build a fucking fort real quick on a summer night easily.
Yeah, and then they'd leave troops there. So out in Gaul, that's the way that they would do it, like during the winters and stuff, is they would garrison their troops with the Gauls. So they would always have that presence there to keep the intimidation going and make sure the alliances stayed strong. But they would also they would get hostages from the tribes. So if they ever went against the alliance, then they could just execute the hostages.
Kind of like what he did in Gaul when he took all the leaders from each tribe and made them part of his army, right?
Yeah.
Same tactic.
And he did that, like we were talking about last time, he did that for multiple reasons, because he was not only getting the best cavalry available in the area at the time, he was denying them any sort of leadership that could help them stage a revolt while he was gone.
Yeah.
Because I think he only left behind, he left like 2 legions back in Gaul under the control of Labienus when he went over to Britain the second time.
I still think that's a G move.
Oh, yeah. It was,
You're trying to control an area, you just take all the smart people.
It was really common to take the firstborn son, the heir, from tribes as well as that hostage. Right?
Really?
Yeah, so if that tribe fucking backtracked on you, I mean, it's like fucking Game of Thrones, the way Ned Stark kept that little fucking Ironborn kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it was like that. So if you fuck around and try to attack us again, we're just gonna kill your kid. You don't have any legacy anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So if anybody didn't hear that, what Dan was just saying is they would take the heir of the tribal leaders. So if they did fuck around and ruin the alliance, it would effectively end their lineage. It would
That's smart.
prevent them from holding power after that. So 5 more tribal delegations approached the camp, and each one requested an alliance in return for protection. Cassivellaunus was quickly losing support. Caesar's plan was working exactly as he intended. Caesar was able to gain valuable information from his new allies. The Britons told them everything they knew, including the location of a secret stronghold where Cassivellaunus was keeping a massive stockpile of food. He was also garrisoning the majority of his army.
A secret stronghold, but is that more like another dirt hill with wooden walls?
Yeah,
that they
that's
could
how all of
easily
them
take
were.
over?
Easily for the Romans. If it was
That's what I
any,
meant. I meant the
any of
Romans,
the
yeah.
other British tribes, they would have had a hard time getting in there, but they had never faced anything like the Roman legion before.
And their turtles.
Yeah, testudo. So yeah, like I was saying, Cassivellaunus was also using that as his main stronghold where he had most of his forces garrisoned at the time. Taking the stockpile would deny the opposing army of resources and let Caesar get a little revenge for having his foraging parties constantly attacked. That would also let them take those resources and extend the amount of time that they would be able to
stay in Britain.
to stay in Britain. Led by their British allies, the Romans marched out in search of Cassivellaunus' secret stronghold. Along the way, the column was hit by constant chariot attacks from the surrounding woods. And although they were inflicting heavy casualties on the Romans, Caesar kept his legions moving forward, only stopping long enough to fight off the enemy chariots. And
That's still weird to me that the Romans didn't have chariots.
yeah, the Romans didn't really. I mean, they had cavalry, they had the equites and everything like that, but they didn't rely on them as much. The Romans weren't very good horsemen until after the rise of the empire. They didn't start really heavily training their cavalry until like long after Caesar was dead, because they would just be able to go and get a bunch of Gauls to fight for them. The Gauls were way better horsemen than they ever were.
Because of this, and because of Britain, they learned about chariots and started making them themselves?
I think that might have been an influence, but I still feel like the chariots mostly came from Egypt for them. Egypt seemed to influence Rome more than Britain ever did.
Okay.
And Rome was deeply ingrained in Roman culture, the idea of patronage, right? The aristocracy didn't think it needed to do those things. It would go hire people that did it well. You know what I mean? Like if you looked at any of the main legions, they didn't do any of that bullshit. They were good at fucking the turtle fucking formation, the phalanx and shit like that, but they didn't do. Even when Octavian's legions met, Cassius's legions, right? They fucking outnumbered them 20-3, I think, in that last battle until the second triumvirate formed. But Antony had cavalry with him, and they ended up fucking flanking and just wiping out that whole army. That's where Brutus died. Brutus and Cassius both died on that battlefield.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird. You're right about that. It's weird. Because of all the fucking movies and TV you've seen over the years, it seems like Rome just had chariots everywhere.
No, but they didn't,
Yeah.
Bizarre. It looks better on TV, that's why.
I told you we have to get down one of these episodes of Caesar before it's over.
I mean,
You sure you don't want to just come with us? Get on here? Or do you gotta leave?
No, I can't. I'm getting on a plane soon.
Oh, where are you flying out to?
To your mom's house.
Oh, shit. She said she was going to have a visitor soon, and she seemed really excited about it.
Why do you have to take the plane there? It's not that far.
But yeah, we'll do it soon.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, once, because like all the stuff that I'm familiar with is primarily up to the assassination of Caesar and like kind of the turmoil that happened after that, but I haven't gotten into the whole era of the rise of the empire. And that was Octavian,
Mark Antony, and Lepidus.
Okay, who was it that you guys were talking about
Oh
earlier?
yeah, the tranny priest. Who's that? Did you figure out who that was?
No, I don't remember the dude's name, but that was an Egyptian guy.
Oh, okay.
The fucking priesthood in Egypt took control after Ptolemy died. Pretty much, Cleopatra wanted to modernize, wanted to bring Rome in, patrons and shit like that, and these fucking tranny priests didn't like it. So
Were the priests all eunuchs?
yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
They were the eunuchs. Ptolemy II was like 9 years old at the time, I think, or some shit like that. So they were just running him, and they exiled Cleopatra until Julius Caesar showed back up.
yeah, showed up in a
And she had fucking Caesarean or whatever the fuck, and then that relationship for a while until he died. Then Mark Antony went over there and started banging her.
Yeah, I still haven't looked up the age difference between Mark Antony and Cleopatra.
I don't think it was that great.
So Caesar was,
He died when he was like fucking 51 or some shit, right? Wasn't he like 51?
yeah, I'm
They committed suicide in the fucking temple, or in the headquarters.
yeah, it was like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing where
Cleopatra and Mark
Yeah,
Antony.
He fucking did the Roman suicide thing. Had he had his first guard.
Like the stab from behind thing.
like
yeah.
in Gladiator.
Top of the thing here, and she let a fucking ass bite her titty.
She let an ass bite her titty.
That lucky ass.
That sounds like porno.
Suicide back then. He was 53, yeah.
53. So Caesar was kind of robbing the cradle when he started banging Cleopatra.
Yeah, Cleopatra died. She was 20, or no, she rolled for 21. She died at 39, so.
Holy shit.
He was 14 years older than her, but that was when Caesar hooked up with her. She must have been. It was 21 years before that.
So she was
So
about
heck, she was
6
a-
or 7, yeah.
Yeah, she was like I mean, what, that would have been in her
So she was like
a teenager.
17, 18, somewhere around there. Yeah. And Caesar
Fuck.
was
Good
in
man.
his 40s, right?
Yeah.
But that's not uncommon.
Oh, no, not back then. I mean, that hasn't
Still
really,
not now.
Hasn't,
Yeah.
it
40-year-old with an 18-year-old.
hasn't become taboo until recently.
Later,
have a
Dad.
good one, man.
Thanks for coming by.
The one and only Dan Hollaway.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have him on for an episode because he knows a lot of shit and he's way more fucking clever than either one of us are. So where'd we leave off? We were talking about the
Yeah, he said I was right about the chariots.
what?
They probably did learn it from the British and then just stole it.
No, I thought he agreed with me that it came from the Egyptians.
No, it was me.
Roll back the footage and let's see what he
No,
actually
I'm
said.
not rolling it back. I'm in charge around here with the editing. Only the editing, so I'm going to edit it so it sounds like I'm right.
You're not right.
Never right.
So the British were using those hit and run tactics to try to beat Caesar through attrition because they couldn't fight him in a stand-up fight.
Yeah.
Which actually the last premiere that we were having
How do you do this?
without the sunglasses on,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just get you. I'm
You
partially
adapt.
blind anyway.
That's
so,
true.
I mean, you could shine a spotlight in my eyes, and I'm not going to see shit anyway. Jake and I, my illegitimate son Jake, which by the way, hi Jake.
Hey, Jake.
We were talking about it during the
He's my
last
nephew.
premiere. Yeah, your illegitimate nephew.
Yeah.
We were talking about it during the last premiere, and something that he brought up is we both agreed that attrition would be the primary way for the British to defeat the Romans, but he brought up burning their boats, which it turns out, we'll find out later in the episode, they did attempt that. But
British did.
yeah, because
Oh, cool.
if they stranded the Romans there in Britain and didn't allow them to send any messages back to either get reinforcements or just flee from the island, what they would have been able to do is just continue to wear them down slowly by denying them food and just letting them starve to death, killing a few here and there by using the hit
Ain't
and
gonna happen, though.
attacks.
Caesar would defend a giant area and just hold the line, and they'd find their own food source and survive. He's a G, dude.
It would have turned into a siege at that point, and if you don't have a steady supply of food during a siege or a huge stockpile of food during a siege, you're just
You're
going to
fucked,
slowly starve
yeah.
to death. They'd resort to, I don't know, they'd eat all the horses, and then they'd probably eat the Gallic cavalry after that, because without the horses, the Gauls are useless to them.
Yeah.
And then
But
eventually,
they're not stuck against who they're fighting. They can defeat every time. They have to run away, so they can be always. They would never be able to hold them off because, all right, we're running out of food. We're gonna just go here.
So if you have a bunch of soldiers that are weak from hunger, and you run in, you throw a bunch of spears, and then run away, you kill a handful each time, or you wound a handful each time when you go in there, because
so annoying.
The wounded back then, they didn't really have very good medicine. So if you got wounded,
you're probably going to die.
Yeah, there's a really high chance that you're going to die. So they would just be slowly wearing them down over time. And the British, they're going to have access to all the same food and resources that they had already because they live in the area. They've got farms set up. They're getting tribute from the local tribes that are allied with them. So it would have taken a little while. But yeah, if the Romans were completely cut off from Rome or from Gaul, because that's where they would sail back to, if they couldn't escape, they would have just slowly died. They would have been worn down over time. And then that would have guaranteed that there's not really anybody back in Rome at this point that's going to be all that upset if Caesar dies. That's even a threat that the German king...
Oh, yeah, we don't know where he went.
I think it was Ariovistus, who threatened Caesar and said, there's probably a lot of politicians back in Rome who would be really happy if I executed you right now, when they were having one of their meetings. And it's true. There would have been a lot of people that would have been like, oh, good, Caesar's dead.
But you really think that I think that Caesar's a G, and they've been battling and on the move and surviving for years at this point. Like, being not at home, they would find a way to survive and live and eat and find food. Like, they would just take over a large enough area that it had the resources they needed. Like, you couldn't take them down. What would happen is there'd be a stalemate where it would become like Caesar and his team would own a part of the island, defend it, and it'd be enough for a certain, like, they would probably lose a lot, but there'd be enough resources for a certain amount to survive, and then they would become part of the fucking
I think that
country.
what it would come down to is Cassivellaunus would have forced Caesar into a position where he'd have to negotiate, and then Caesar would be given the choice of becoming like a vassal of Cassivellaunus or just die. And anybody who doesn't want to support us...
Cassivellaunus had enough troops and enough men that he would stop Caesar?
In the long run, yes. If they got completely cut off...
You don't think he would just travel around and kill everybody before they had a chance to do that to him?
We'll find out...
I don't even know what happens.
We'll find out here in a minute how things play out, but...
I know he lives till later, but...
I think, because of the way things played out, obviously Cassivellaunus isn't able to defeat Caesar, but if some of his plans had worked, then there's a strong likelihood that Caesar would have been on the bad side of the negotiations.
Yeah.
He would have been negotiating from a
I don't
place
even
of
know.
weakness.
I know Caesar dies in Rome, so I know he's going to live through this, but I don't know if they win or not.
Spoiler alert, Jesus, Joel. Nobody knows that Caesar's dead yet.
I'm sorry.
He might still be alive. You don't know. Yeah, there's no reason to even tell the rest of this story because now everybody knows the ending.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm just going to tell it anyway because we got nothing better to do. Led by their British allies, the Romans marched out in search of Cassivellaunus' secret stronghold. Along the way, the column was hit by... I already read this part, didn't I?
I can't remember.
I got distracted. I'm going to read it again anyway. Along the way, the column was hit by constant chariot attacks from the surrounding woods. And although they were inflicting heavy casualties on the Romans, Caesar kept his legions moving forward, only stopping long enough to fight off the enemy chariots. So he wouldn't let his men pursue the chariots when they fled because he had learned already that if they pursued the chariot, or even his cavalry, if he wasn't sending his cavalry to chase him down, because it's just gonna take you into an ambush. That's what they were hoping for. Soon the secret fortress came into view, and Caesar deployed his troops for battle.
Yeah. I've heard about secret fortresses before. I remember.
What do you remember?
That made me think of the ice castle that Arnold fights in Conan Part 2. And he fights the ice wizard who's got all the mirrors.
Oh yeah. I remember that. It was exactly.
This is probably this is something like that, right?
Exactly. It's a giant ice fortress.
Giant ice fortress
maybe not
with a bunch of mirrors.
In Britain, it would be a giant mud fortress surrounded by fog. Because that's all they have in Britain is mud and fog.
Mud and wood and kilts.
Caesar separated his legions into two groups to attack from two different sides. As they had done before, the Romans formed a testudo and marched to the walls under heavy missile fire.
Testudo.
Before the Romans had even breached the walls, the Britons began to falter. Many of them fled out the back of the fortress, leaving the walls dangerously unprotected. Caesar's legions were able to easily scale the walls and pour into the fortress, and once inside, they met very little resistance.
How did they scale the walls this time? Same way, probably?
Either they might have piled up a another ramp leading up to the walls, or they could have just used ladders. They would use ladders to get over walls too.
So when they got there, they just ran?
Yeah, the Britons really didn't want to face the Romans in a stand-up fight.
They were scared of them.
Because they were so much more organized. They had so much more experience fighting in the manner that they were fighting. They had a lot more experience that way. If it was the tribal combat,
fucking guy with the two Triarii dudes, the one that had the backpack with the guy with no legs.
Yeah, Master Blaster of the Triarii.
Yeah, when they would see that guy coming, it was like then he became a god. It was like folklore.
You can cut their legs off, and they're still just going to keep fucking
and
fighting.
They're still 95% combat effective.
Yeah,
we got to get the fuck out of here. I love that character now.
The two Triarii.
We need a better name than Master Blaster because that's already taken. But what would be the Roman version of that?
If you're watching the YouTube premiere, give us ideas for the Roman equivalent of Master Blaster, where it's one Triarii without any legs riding on the back of another Triarii.
Yeah, but the other Triarii, because they've been together for so long, his legs are fucking huge.
Yeah.
He's got massive legs.
He's got Handsome Dan legs.
Yeah.
That's big, right. Big fucking legs.
This is the same conversation we had before. And a sweet ass.
Oh God, yeah. I mean the
Triarii will have a fucking his butt cheeks will be just pure muscle
and Handsome Dan's.
Yeah, like a rhinoceros.
Within hours, the stronghold was under Roman control. By capturing the British food stores, Caesar had effectively won the war, but Cassivellaunus wasn't going to give up that easily. Unbeknownst to the Romans, as the British army fled, a messenger was sent south carrying orders for a surprise attack.
Sick.
Back at the main Roman camp, a single legion was guarding the fleet of Roman ships behind their perimeter wall. Suddenly, thousands of British troops came pouring over the horizon, probably drinking tea. Cassivellaunus had some of his remaining allies waiting for the main Roman force to leave so they could attack the camp and burn their ships. So yes, Jake, you were correct. They should have done that, and they did try to do that.
Wow, that's cool.
As we have said before, the Romans were excellent combat engineers. They had fortified their camp with a sturdy wall that surrounded their entire camp all the way down to the water line. As the Britons attempted to breach the walls, they were met with a hail of pila, and unlike the Romans, they didn't have a testudo.
So they got rocked.
Yeah, the first attack against the walls.
They must have, right? Were they trying to build a ramp?
They
were like, dude, we'll do what they did. We'll build a ramp. And then they were trying to build a ramp, and they were getting fucking lit up. And they're like, we forgot about the turtle thing.
The first charge against the walls broke almost immediately because as soon as they got close enough to the walls, the Romans just started
missiles
nailing them with javelins. So yeah, the first.
So when
charge
they were building
failed.
the ramp, I love the ramp thing. I mean, dude, it's so simple. It makes sense, but I've never seen it in a movie. I've never seen it. I never talked about it before, so it seems interesting.
Something else?
Did they do it with the turtles? Like, would they? Like, they would
build up a ramp
and
they
would have
up,
a turtle,
march
and
up with
inside were like a bunch of people with shit getting close so they don't get attacked, and like setting it down and if you saw it in a movie,
I'm assuming that they must have done it that way, either under the cover of a bunch of shields, having people holding up shields, or they could have just built giant, wooden shields that they would have groups of guys carrying over them, or actual like siege equipment that they would throw together. That's just a giant rolling house that everybody's standing inside while they build a wall. It depends on the battle, because they've done all of that.
They've been doing
before.
this all day. Every day for like 50 years. How old is Caesar now?
The way that they were fighting, they started using these tactics more after the Marian reforms. So I mean, they've been fighting.
What's his uncle's name?
Gaius Marius.
Gaius, he knew, dude.
Yeah,
he set his nephew up.
Yeah, and set Rome up to set the Republic up to fall and set the Empire up to rise.
So probably what they did was that, right? So they would make some sort of protective barrier, move up, build the ramp, move away, and there's already a second one. So it's just like turtles going like this and building up the ramp.
They would just march up and keep holding the shields up.
Or
and
just build one protective barrier and just pile it. Oh, yeah. That makes more sense.
I don't know the specific details of how they did it, but there's a lot of different ways they could have done it that are the same tactics that they've used in other battles before and after.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting battles, which we're not going to be getting to it very soon because, like I've said a few times, we're going to be slowing down on the Julius Caesar topic to kind of diversify everything.
Oh no, just as bonuses.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep going on the story of Julius Caesar because we're just getting to the best parts of his life now.
If Julius Caesar had to fight the orcs from the third Lord of the Rings, you're a fucking idiot, dude.
I'm the one that brought up orcs.
He would whoop their ass, I think. He would have held the castle. Or if it was reverse.
Like if it was the Battle at Helm's Deep?
The third one. The White Castle with the dead tree.
Isn't that the second one?
No, that's the third one when the ghosts come and easily win.
Wait, I thought it was the second one where they went to
The second one's the Two Towers. That's the one at nighttime.
Oh, that's Helm's Deep in the second one.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
so
talking
in the
about
third one, the Battle of Minas Tirith, I'm pretty sure
Minas
is what it is.
Tirith, that's the one. I don't know.
The guy sets himself on fire and jumps off the...
Yeah, that part's cool.
Yeah. Why the fuck did he do that? I've only read the first book, and I hate to say it, but it was so goddamn boring and confusing that I was like, I'm not reading 2 more fucking books. I'm just going to watch the movie.
I think I did the same. I know I read at least 1 or 2. No, I read the Two Towers, and I read the first one. I read The Hobbit.
So is it The Hobbit with Tom Bombadil, or is that the first? I think that's the first Lord of the Rings book. I think that's the Fellowship of the Rings with Tom Bombadil, which...
I don't care. The question that matters, that doesn't matter...
Could Caesar defeat the orcs?
Caesar would fuck the orcs up.
Yeah, because the orcs were being fucking idiots with their siege equipment and shit, and they're suicidal. They're not... All they have is numbers.
Yeah.
They didn't really have any tactics.
I remember
they did have cave trolls though. Cave trolls. Well, no, even the Romans could take down the cave trolls because
the Triarii would fuck the cave trolls.
The Triarii would be fighting over who got to take down the cave trolls.
Yeah. They wouldn't even kill it. They would like kidnap it and torture it and fuck it and stuff, and then kill it. You know
Jesus
they would.
Christ.
Piece of shit cave trolls. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, probably. I can't imagine that cave trolls were all that much fun to fuck. I mean, their skin would be like thicker than
cave trolls.
Yeah,
they were mean to Frodo for no reason.
I mean, they're pretty much wild animals.
Cave trolls?
Yeah.
Okay, so they could train, adapt, and make friends with them.
It'd be like the equivalent of a war elephant.
Could you imagine if you had instead of your best friend being a dog, he was a cave troll? That'd be awesome. And it was as sweet as a dog. Like if you raised it from... Okay, never mind. Yeah, let's just... from birth. Wait, but they're born full grown and bullshit like that. That's...
Well, I mean, you would have to...
Those movies are so dumb.
You would have to...
You have to have a lot of imagination to give a fuck.
You would have to domesticate it, which would take generations.
Not if it was
generations
from birth.
No, because I mean, you can even take a wolf puppy and raise it yourself, and it's still not a domesticated animal. It still has
it's got all its instincts.
Yeah. The reason dogs are the way that they are is because we've been domesticating them for 10,000 years. We've been selectively breeding them to turn them into the amazing and wonderful creatures that they are now. I love dogs. Dogs are probably the greatest thing to happen to humanity.
To make them what we want for ourselves. So,
well, I mean, if you consider man's best friend ruined,
well, what they were is ruined. What they are is great for us.
Yeah.
So if you
it's great for them
so what
too.
You'd have to do is take a cave troll, rip all its teeth out, cut off its hands, cut off its legs, so it couldn't do much and couldn't hurt anybody, and then you could pretend like it was like how dogs are.
That's horrible.
I mean, we just did the same thing to dogs. We just did it over time.
We didn't rip their teeth out and cut their paws off.
We do that all the time. We still do it to cats. Decline.
Well, cats are fucking assholes. They're still cats still aren't completely domesticated. They're still partially wild. That's why they're such fucking assholes.
I like that.
Yeah, cats. I don't even know if cats ever can be.
I mean,
they are partially domesticated, but I have met so many cats that are just fucking assholes. I mean, they'll just be mean out of nowhere.
So you're saying you wouldn't have a pet cave troll? We're going to end this conversation on this last question.
No, I wouldn't want a pet cave troll.
What if you had the property and the means to take care of it?
The amount of food that it would take, the size of the piles of shit.
Financially,
I don't even like scooping up dog shit for dogs that
you hire someone
that I own.
If financially was, you would have like a cool place, kind of like Jurassic Park and shit, where you'd have like a electric fence for it. When your friends came over, you'd feed it a cow.
Yeah, the way that I look at it is, I wouldn't want to own an elephant, so I wouldn't want to own a cave troll, because I think that an elephant is probably the closest equivalent that we have to a cave troll.
Elephant puppies.
Baby elephants are adorable.
Right. Remember The Protector with Tony Jaa?
Oh yeah, what?
If no
Whatever
one has seen
happened to
this,
Tony Jaa?
he's still making movies. I still watch them.
Really?
They come out on Netflix and show up in my feed.
Nothing that I've seen from him ever compares to Ong Bak.
Well, no, Ong Bak was the G shit.
There's not very much that does compare to Ong Bak. Yeah, old Jackie Chan movies.
Rumble in the Bronx was the same. That was Jackie Chan's Ong Bak. Like nothing is as good as that.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
he has some shit that's real close.
So no, I wouldn't own a cave troll.
Okay.
I'd have no interest in owning a cave troll the same way that I have no interest in owning an elephant, because I think that's the closest equivalent that we have to cave trolls.
I just like that Tony Jaa made a film called The Protector. Watch it. And it's a revenge film because someone steals his elephant.
Isn't that the movie where that big guy picks up a baby elephant and starts swinging it around as a weapon?
It's not a fucking just some baby elephant. It's his elephant.
Okay, that doesn't change the fact that...
Yeah, he throws a baby elephant. Yeah, through a fucking glass window or something.
That movie was fucking ridiculous.
And they kill his mom. And like his
elephant's mom or Tony Jaa's
the
mom?
elephant's mom, which was Tony Jaa's mom also, technically in the film.
So it was like Jungle Book?
Kind of like that, yeah. And
I would watch a Jungle Book remake
the end
with
fight
Tony Jaa.
scene. The baby gets thrown through a glass window, the baby elephant, and then the baby elephant's fucking mom is a bone statue because they turned her into a bone statue.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember
Makes him
that.
cry, and then that's the scene where it's worth talking about because it's such a good scene, dude. First, there's the one take. It's like a one take where he goes all the way up this like 5-story building to get to where his fucking baby elephant is, and then
Wait, that long? I thought that long one take was in Ong Bak.
no, that's The Protector. He made Ong Bak, and then the second big one he made was The Protector. It's not as good as Ong Bak, but it's fucking sweet.
Okay, because I remember that one take where he's going up all the stairs.
Because they took his fucking elephant.
Fucking amazing.
Then you think that's the climax, right? And when you walk in, because he's trying to get the baby and the mom. He walks in, finds out the mom was killed and turned into a goddamn skeleton statue. He goes into berserk mode, and then suddenly, magically, the room that's relatively small has another 100 guys to fight. And he stops punching and kicking and ung-baking and just breaks every person's arm or leg over and over and over for like fucking 10 minutes. It's incredible. Like everyone tries to punch him and he breaks their arm and bends it backwards, or he catches their leg and bends their knee the wrong way. And it's like for 10 minutes. It's incredible. You don't remember this?
I barely remember it because I saw it when it came out in theaters a long time ago, and the main thing that I remember is the ridiculous part where the guy grabs the baby elephant and swings it around and throws it.
Yeah. Great stuff. The Protector. Both those are good. Ong Bak and The Protector. Back to reality.
When we last left off, Casavalanis had sent a message to launch a surprise attack on the beach camp that Caesar had set up that was guarding all of his boats. The British charged the walls, but just got hit with a bunch of pila, so that it broke their first attack. When they came back the second time...
Pila sounds like... It doesn't sound tough at all.
They're
throwing spears.
We'll just call them javelins.
Javelins is
tough.
Cooler than spear.
We name missiles after javelins now.
Javelin missile.
So the British got hit with a bunch of javelins when they first charged the wall, and that kind of broke their momentum. And something... The legate that was in charge of the Legion there must have seen like, oh, these guys are green. Like they're not as skilled as we are. I think that we can just scare them off. So, seeing so many of their fellow soldiers fall caused a portion of the British army to turn and flee. This left an opening for the Romans to exploit, and the legate in charge of the Legion orders men to charge into the British lines. So they didn't actually have like a gate on this wall. They just had an opening in it that they would have a line of soldiers defending. The legate just ordered them to rush out of the camp into the British lines, and it fucking worked.
Oh, shit.
The mass of angry Romans pouring out of the camp was too much for the British to bear. Their lines broke, and they were routed. So they didn't even do shit to the Roman camp. They tried, but they just eventually got scared off. And you know how it usually goes in a rout is as soon as they start to run, that's when the vast majority of deaths in battles like that occurred during a rout. When one side started to run, the Nervii
the fucking Nervii.
Earlier episode,
pussies. They were so nervous
during
the river, right?
During one of the main battles with the Nervii, when they fled, the majority of their casualties came from their own people getting run over by their own cavalry.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it's real fucked. The route is
Well, as soon as it becomes
bad news.
Yeah, I could see that. As soon as everyone's scared, running, no one's looking out for anyone but themselves. And if you have a horse, you're gonna run right through your own guys.
Yeah, well, especially like if the horse is scared,
The horse
isn't going to give a shit. It's just going to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Cassivelaunus had played his final card. With the failure of the surprise attack, he had no choice but to negotiate with Caesar. With little time to spare, Caesar simply demanded that Cassivelaunus leave Rome's new British allies alone. Caesar took hostages to ensure that he kept his end of the deal and let his former enemy go. Because Caesar was done in Britain. They'd been there for a little while. By this time,
ready to go?
Yeah. He'd gotten all
What decides that?
The weather, pretty much. Well, I will tell you. By this time, the Romans had been in Britain for months, and winter was once again approaching. The Romans gathered whatever food and valuables they could carry, and slaves, and marched back to their camp on the beach.
And water boys.
And, future water boys. Right now, they're just captured. They're prisoners of war.
Watermen.
Watermen. As you may remember from the previous episode, Caesar had lost 40 of his ships in a sudden storm, which left him with only enough transportation for half of his army. Which he keeps, through both campaigns in Britain, he just keeps getting fucked by the weather on the English Channel.
Must be a wild channel, dude.
Yeah, even during World War II, the invasion of Normandy was delayed because the weather on the English Channel was so unpredictable.
Interesting.
With no other choice, Caesar loaded half of his men onto the ships and sent them towards Gaul. The weather once again failed to cooperate, and the ships barely made it to shore. Once in Gaul, the foul weather prevented the ships from returning to pick up Caesar and his men. Back on the British coast, Caesar was growing impatient, waiting for his fleet to return and pick him up. There was no way for him to know that they were prevented from leaving because the weather around Gaul was shitty at that point.
Yeah.
So he's just there. They left the first fleet of the remainder of his fleet of ships left carrying half of his army, and they were supposed to be back like a day and a half or 2 days later. They were supposed to drop everybody off, turn around, come back, and pick up the rest of the army. So he waited about a day, and he was like, okay, I can't wait any longer, because if the weather keeps continually getting worse, there's no way that they're getting out of Britain, and if they get stuck in Britain for the winter, then they are for sure dead. Either the weather's going to kill them or the British are going to kill them.
Holy shit.
If he and his men were stranded in Britain, it would be a death sentence either by starvation or at the hands of the British. Having no alternatives, Caesar selected the least damaged of his remaining ships and had some hasty repairs made. Once finished, the boats were just barely holding together.
Fuck.
Their only hope was to sail for Gaul and pray they make it before the ships sank. For the first time since his campaign in Britain began, the weather was calm, and they arrived in Gaul the next morning.
Oh,
Can you imagine sailing out on these leaky-ass ships? So, two things. First off, Caesar sent half of his army home, and he chose to stay behind with the other half.
See, that's a G move. I was waiting to say that.
Yeah, he stayed behind to take care of his men.
That's gangster, dude.
And then he was also like, okay, I need to get everybody out of here. So the first transports that they sent over with half of the army, they couldn't load more people on because they were also transporting a bunch of hostages and slaves back. So he's like, we got to get these home because this is our money. So he elected to take the shitty ships that might not make the trip back, because if he was able to make it back, he's got a bunch of money waiting for him back in Gaul once he sells those slaves. With the departure of Caesar and his legions, Britain slowly returned to normal. The alliances were forgotten, the hostages were never returned, and Britain was pretty much ignored by Rome. It would be over 100 years before a Roman set foot on the island again.
And is that the babe?
Boudicca?
Boudica.
Yeah, it would be around that time that they tangled with Boudicca, and she just fucked him up. She
did. I see. We
tortured 80,000 people to death. Boudicca is going to be another episode that we
have to do
in the future, because that was actually Jack Mandeville that recommended that one, right? Because I wasn't there for that conversation.
Yeah,
when he was talking about it.
He brought her up. He knew vaguely about her, but it sounded interesting, so I looked it up and I just read Wikipedia and a couple articles, and I was like, oh shit. The first person that could actually whoop the fucking Roman's ass was a woman.
And yeah, she did it in a big way. Well, there was a lot of other people that whooped Roman's asses, but the first Briton that was able to whoop Roman ass was Boudicca.
Was a woman.
As far as I know. Yeah, Boudicca.
And her name's Boudicca, so she's already sexy to me. She's probably got booty.
I don't know, the whole thought of her having 70 to 80,000 people tortured to death, little bit of a turn off. I mean, just a little bit.
See, that's a turn on for me. She's crazy. She knew what it took to fight the Romans.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was torturing and killing British people too.
Whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, she would do whatever it took to win, and I mean, it worked for a while.
And then, but eventually, she, like everyone else, Romans whooped their ass.
So
she poisoned herself.
Is that how she ended up dying?
Because she started losing. They eventually broke through her bullshit, and then fucking she was like, fuck. And they were going to kidnap her. So she killed herself.
Probably for the best, because she would have ended up in a triumph if she didn't.
Yeah.
That much later on, like after the rise of the Roman Empire, the triumphs, they stopped being as much of a celebration of a general, and they were pretty much limited to the Roman emperors. The Roman emperors were the only ones that could get triumphs later on in the rise of the empire, because the emperors didn't think that it was okay for somebody who wasn't an emperor to be celebrated that much. And they also became less of a, they were just kind of, you didn't really have to
still never
earn
broke
it
down
as
the
much.
triumphs.
Yeah, that's going to be a later episode.
Another bonus episode?
Yeah, we are going to be getting into it, but like I've said a few times now.
We got to do a bonus episode on the triumphs.
No, I have a full episode already written just about the Roman triumphs.
Dude, because I've been interested in that, and I'm not allowed to talk about it or find out about it because there's an episode dedicated to it.
Yeah, we'll be doing that soon. We're still going to be releasing episodes about Julius Caesar, but it's probably either going to be a bonus episode, so we'd have 2 episodes in 1 week, and the bonus episode would be about Caesar, or it's going to be like every couple weeks we'll continue the story of Caesar. But for the benefit of the podcast, we need to diversify the topics that we're talking about so we don't get shoehorned as just a Roman history podcast, because there's already a lot of those out there, and there's some really, really good ones.
Yeah.
But we've got some other topics coming up.
We have to cut off your murder boner about Julius Caesar.
Yeah. Because I would talk about not just Julius Caesar, I would talk about Roman history in general for a long, long time. But we do have a lot of other topics that we want to cover. Some of the upcoming topics that we're going to have is, as we talked about before, Floyd Mayweather is going to be a topic. We're going to be doing an episode. I talked to Handsome Dan Regester from Softcore History.
Yeah.
He's going to be a guest on an episode coming up where we're going to talk about the single most destructive organism to the environment.
Okay.
Which is a person.
Oh,
surprisingly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty good one. We're going to be talking about the only black samurai, which I actually I decided to do that episode as a tribute to Itamashi, who's one of our listeners that has been consistently supporting us from the very beginning.
Hell yeah.
And he said at one point that he wanted some more episodes geared towards like Asian culture.
Asian samurai shit.
I just found out about I told him during a premiere recently that I wanted to do an episode about samurai.
Yeah.
But I found out about this guy who I'm probably going to butcher the name, but I'm pretty sure it's Yasuke. And he was like from Sudan. Nobody knows exactly where he came from, but he was from Sudan or somewhere in Africa. And he ended up over in Japan and actually became a samurai. So I think that's going to be a really fucking awesome episode. I haven't read into it too much at this point. I just kind of glanced over some information about him and then put his name in the document that I keep for all the other episode topics that I want to do.
Was the movie with Tom Cruise, was he supposed to be a black guy? And then Tom Cruise just got the part? Is that what the story is?
Most likely. That was back when movies were less inclusive than they are now. No, this was a long time before The Last Samurai, which I think The Last Samurai is actually loosely based in reality.
Isn't that like the Civil War era?
I believe so. It was like the 1800s. Yeah.
I liked that movie when I saw it. I don't know how it would hold up now.
It's been a long time since I've seen it also, so I don't know how well it would hold up either.
I feel like it has a Legends of the Fall vibe, but not as cool, because there ain't no bear skins. Like when Anthony Hopkins pulls the double barrel shotgun out the bear skins, there ain't nothing better than that.
All right, well, we got to wrap it up for this episode, but like I said, those are some of the upcoming episodes that we're going to be talking about within the next few weeks. If anybody else has any other topics that they would like us to cover, send us a message on Instagram. You can reach me at
Coop's been writing them down. He's been
I keep track of all of them.
During the premieres, when people mention a topic in the chat, I've seen him pull his phone out and write it down.
All of the topics that everybody mentioned during the last premiere, I have added to the document of future topics. So if you have an idea of a show that you want to see, I'll throw one together. So, yeah, you can follow me at Coop Newcomb on Instagram.
I'm at Joel R. Benner.
You can follow both of us at Iconoblast Podcast, and that's where we usually...
that's where all the action is.
Yeah, we make announcements for when the premieres are happening, and we'll repost stuff that listeners have sent us. Joel just recently posted a picture of the photo that's over my left shoulder. He posted a close-up of it. And we got some
a lot of good
comments about iconic duos. But yeah, also check out Drinking Bros History channel on YouTube.
You're the cabin boy. Just saying it right now.
I am not the goddamn cabin boy. I'm Christopher.
Okay, so you're
I am
Christopher
steering
Columbus?
this ship. Well, no, I don't even want to compare myself to Christopher
All right,
Columbus.
no, you could be Christopher Columbus.
No.
Fine, I'll be the cabin boy.
I'm Martin. I'm Martin Pinzone.
You're a rapist.
I'm Martin Pinzone.
That wasn't the option.
He was probably a rapist also.
That wasn't one of the options.
Yeah, well, whatever.
All right, Chris. Continue.
Yeah, check out Drinking Bros History channel on YouTube. That's where we do our Monday night premieres, and Joel and I are always in the chat talking to everybody. Check out Softcore History, our brothers in arms on the Drinking Bros History YouTube channel. They just recently did an episode about the comical assassination of Franz Ferdinand, which the fallout from the assassination was not comical, but one of the best comparisons that I heard made during the episode was Gavrilo Princip's assassination of Franz Ferdinand played out like a Mentos commercial.
Yeah.
Which is pretty accurate because just check out the Softcore History episode on Franz Ferdinand because it was a really good one.
Yeah, now they're having Jack on the show too.
Yeah, that's actually why I'm wrapping this up right now because I have to go live switch for Softcore History while they have Jack Mandeville on the show. So I'm really looking forward to that because Jack's always a fucking pleasure to work with. And the Friday Night Jack Sesh is tonight. So sign up to the Drinking Bros Patreon if you want to get access to the Friday Night Jack Sesh.
Hell yeah.
Anything else that we should plug right now? Thank you, Ghostbed, for sponsoring the show. Check out the Drinking Bros merch store to get a sweet ass shirt like this one that if you're watching on YouTube you can see.
It's a pretty cool shirt.
Yeah, it's Drinking Bros, but it's like the Pornhub logo. They just released a bunch of new shirts on a bunch of
the merch store is out of control now.
Yeah, there's all kinds of good shit on there.
So check it out.
So that's it for this episode. My name is Matt Cooper.
Joel Benner.
Reminding you to never take anything at face value.
Yeah. Oh, you know, samurai. Yeah.
That's racist.